Welcome back to another episode. I'm Swipa Cam. Man, I hope you're having a great day. Just could not close out the game. Y'all, the Denver Nuggets lose the only game they've lost when they scored over 120 points this season. They lose 126 to 127 to the Sacramento Kings on the second night of a back-to-back. Again, I know, frustrating, back-to-back. No Jamal Murray, no Aaron Gordon, no Bruce Brown, no Jeff Green. But the Denver Nuggets, they were up 19 points at one point in this game, and they still could not close it out. What exactly happened, and why weren't they able to close out the game? I think that's what everybody is interested in, y'all. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We are on the way. We are growing the channel, getting to 10,000 subscribers, y'all. We are so close, y'all. But tonight felt like a couple of different games. The first half, it felt like the Denver Nuggets were just set to make a point. The Nuggets were leading 40-24. 40-24 at the end of the first quarter. The Denver Nuggets were lights out. Everybody was playing well. Everybody was shooting well. Everybody seemed to be moving crisp. The defense was good. All of it was there. Now, I don't know what exactly happened, but it feels like naturally when you're up that much, and then on top of that, when you feel you're the better team, maybe you're going to maybe let go of the rope a little bit. And so the Denver Nuggets ended the quarter of 40-24. Jokic had 12, 2, and 3 at the end of the first on 4-4 shooting. Michael Porter Jr. had 13 points on 5 of 5 shooting and 3 of 3 from 3 in the very first quarter. And it was everywhere. Porter was hitting contested three-point shots, was getting into the lane. He was playing really well at a high level. The defense was rotating really well. And Jokic was Jokic. Jokic was just dominating. Every way and everything you could have imagined that the MVP was going to do, he did it. And he was looking like he was set out to have a great night, which he did. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was 1 of 2 from 3 in the first quarter. He had 3 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists in the first quarter. And then Zeke Naji, who actually had a really good game, Zeke Naji had 4 points on 2 of 3 field goals. So tonight, it started off like the Nuggets were going to make a point that even if we don't have Murray and Gordon and Green and Brown, we still got more than enough to get the job done. Now, the funny thing is the Nuggets won every single quarter until the fourth quarter, basically. They were up 40-24 at the end of the first. They were up 75-62 at the end of the second quarter. And then they were up 105-94. 105-94 at the end of the third quarter. But as you see, they gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter, and they only scored 21 points. Now, a lot of this happened because the bench started getting mollywopped. I mean, they got mollywopped immediately as they started the fourth quarter. Jokic came back in. I think they were up 6, and they were at the free throw line as well. And then De'Aaron Fox ended up hitting 2 of his free throws. The next thing you know, they're only up 4. And they got it all the way back up to about 8. But then they just started playing like a really stagnant style of basketball. People weren't hitting shots. They got really tight. Bones Highland actually had a really good game for a majority of the night. Bones Highland tonight had 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 11 assists, 8 of 16 shooting, 3 of 6 from 3, 1 of 1 from the free throw line. But he was a -5. He was a -5. And by the way, the Sacramento Kings tonight, Domantas Sabonis had 31, 10, and 5 on 12 of 18, -4. He also was 2 of 2 from 3. Those were 2 huge three-pointers. De'Aaron Fox had 31, 2, and 13, 12 of 21, 2 of 6, 5 of 5. He was a +5. Harrison Barnes only had 8, 2, and 2. But off the bench, Malik Monk had 33, 2, and 3, 12 of 21, 4 of 8, 4 of 6, and he was a +8. And again, it kind of came down to this. Malik Monk, +8. Trey Lyles, +13. Opala had a +3. And Rashawn Holmes, a +5. So once again, you look at the bench minutes for the Nuggets, -7 for Christian Brown, -2 for Blacko, a +4 for Ish, a -2 for Davon Reed. But the Denver Nuggets starters, what the funny thing was, they were still in the plus by the time they came back in. But I think the momentum had cascaded so much to where the Kings, they were just getting up anything and everything they wanted, and they felt really comfortable. De'Aaron Fox did not start off playing well. Ended up having a really great fourth quarter. I think he scored 15 in the fourth. So tonight, you know, the starters, Porter was the net 0. Bones Highland -5. Jokic was a -1. David Caldwell Pope with a +6. And Zeke Naji with a +2. So the momentum had just shifted so much by the time that fourth quarter came around. I think if the Nuggets were able to hold an 11-point lead by the time Jokic came back in, I think it would have been all right. But they just had some really, really, really sloppy turnovers in the fourth quarter. Jokic got double teamed. You could say he got fouled on a double team that led to a fast break. Bones Highland got ripped by Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell basically took Bones Highland out of the game, except for one possession in the fourth quarter. You could tell Bones was just really tight with his handle. He was taking really, really long time to get in and out of his sets and get the ball moving. And Jokic ended up missing the field goal that would have ended up putting the Nuggets up 2 with like 3 seconds left. But Jokic got the ball so late. And actually what I would have preferred, I would have preferred, given the situation, do a pick and roll with Jokic and give him about 6 seconds or so to make a decision. Give him about 6 seconds or so to make a decision. Because what's going to happen after that point, they're either going to double off of Zeke's man, double off of KCP's man, or double off of MPJ's man. And that way you got a wide open three-pointer. Or Jokic got a nice little option for the 2-pointer. But the thing is that Jokic got the ball so late that he kind of, and again, it was right in that 3 to 10 foot area where he's shooting basically 60%, basically the greatest ever in that area. And he did a set shot instead of shooting his normal floater. And I feel like the rhythm of the play was thrown off because as soon as he got the ball, he felt like he had to score. Now, Jokic had like 2.5 seconds left or so before he needed to shoot the ball. So he could have pump fake, could have did a spin, could have put it up. But I think he just didn't realize how much time was there. So, again, he did a set shot instead of doing a normal floater there. And, again, he missed it, which is rare. And, again, if you watch Jokic at all, that whole area, I mean, today when he was shooting that area, he was just busting the Kings wide open. They couldn't do anything about it. By the way, Jokic tonight had another 40-point game. He has 40 points, only 7 rebounds, only 6 assists, 15 to 24 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3, and 2 of them were heaves. 2 of those were heaves. Ended the game. Then at the end of a shot clock, he was 10 of 10 from the free throw line, had 1 block, had 1 steal. He ended the game with 5 turnovers, and he was a -1 to end the game. Now, once again, he came in the game. I think Jokic ended the third quarter as, what do you see? I think Jokic was a +6. I think he was a +6 at the end of the first quarter. So, by the way, this is how you know the fourth quarter changes, and this is especially with the bench. Sabonis at the end of the fourth quarter, at the end of the third quarter, Sabonis was a -15, Fox was a -7, Barnes was a -14, Murray was a -6, and Kayvon Huerter was a -13. And all those guys, they completely shifted. Sabonis -4, Fox +5, Barnes -13. Fox was a +5. That means he made a, again, 12-point difference. 12-point difference in the fourth. And then Sabonis also then made a, what is that? He was a -15. So a +11 difference in the fourth. So they just, again, they got that momentum early. They got it really early. They got it really early with the bench. Because like I said, Jokic came back in and they were at the free throw line. So then by the time he got the ball again, the Nuggets were only at 4. So they had just got so much momentum. And again, I just think that the Nuggets, honestly, in particular, I'm going to say Bones, because his job as the point guard is to get in and out of sets, to get the people the ball where they need to get the ball. And I think that Bones I think Davion kind of took him out of his pace a little bit. He became a little bit more hesitant. Like he wasn't going downhill near as much. And again, he got pickpocketed. And again, getting in and out of sets, it just was, the timing was just really off. But I mean, again, it's not a huge deal. That's a second-year player. Second-year player is going to have those moments. But that's why last time you saw Jamal and Jokic, they basically scored 8 straight points. And then Murray, and then also MPJ, like they were just able to take advantage of a lot of different shots. And then Murray, in the pick and roll, he got getting into the paint, and then he was able to throw left-handed dimers to KCP in order to get jump shots. So there's a few things that were at work here. One, the execution down the stretch wasn't great. The defense was not great, basically, after the first quarter. A lot of that was just shot making. Nobody was stopping anybody. I mean, the Nuggets had 75 points at half, 105 points at the end of the third, and then they ended up with 126 points. There was just no defense played. Sabonis made 2 really, really good open threes. those were just good shots. You got to take some of those. I think he hit 2 jumpers tonight as well. And then De'Aaron, once he got cooking in the fourth, it's really hard to slow him down unless you were trapping or something. And then they also lost some of those like little turnovers, like the balls that kind of went out into the middle of the floor. Sabonis even got one. Jokic got a rebound, but he was trying to secure it. It got hit out of his hand. Sabonis grabs it, gets it, and then he ends up dunking, going up 2 with less than a minute left. So it was just one of those games, man, where like they just couldn't seem to get where they needed to go, and they couldn't secure the rebounds. They couldn't get the stops. Like even when the Nuggets were up 19, they would give up 3-pointers. Next thing you know, they're only up 13. And it was just kind of like that the entire night. So, but again, that's when you don't have veterans on the court to solve that late game execution stuff, then it's not going to be the same thing. And so I think Jokic absolutely could have made that last jumper. But like I said, you really shouldn't have been in that situation, because I do think that the execution should have been better. And also the bench, they just were bad. They were really bad in that last bit. Michael Malone also had a challenge with Vlatko Cancar, and Vlatko looked like a clear foul to me. Michael Malone, though, insisted that it may not have been. Again, he got the notification from the rest of the staff, and then they challenged the foul at the rim. The problem was it wasn't something that was conclusive at all. This is clearly not a foul. And then on the other side of this, when he made that decision, they lost the challenge. They lost the timeout. They had 2 timeouts remaining for the last 6 minutes of the fourth, and they had no challenges left. And at the end of the game, when Malik Monk went around KCP, he gave him a little hook. That was a great moment where you could have challenged right then and there. But because it wasn't there, again, the reason why I'm not necessarily tripping about this game is really hard to beat a team on a back-to-back on their home floor. It's really hard to do that. And then on top of that, it's not as if the Nuggets, like for instance, the Nuggets, they lost their second game in the last 10, so they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. And then on top of that, man, like, again, you have no Murray, like, you had no Aaron Gordon, no Bruce. Like, it is what it is. Like, that stuff is going to happen. Like, the Kings more than likely would not have been in the game to the same degree had that not happened. So, that's just not something I would be tripping about for sure. And again, it's really hard in a lot of these situations to do what you're supposed to do and execute down the stretch. And when you have young players doing that, it is. Oh, and then also, right. Tim Joseph, remember when Bones got trapped in the corner, called a timeout, and the Nuggets turned the ball over. This is a great point. This is a great point. So what happened was Bones Highland was taking the ball off the court. Again, another Davion Mitchell play. Bones Highland was coming up the court, and he got to half court and decided that he was going to stop dribbling, which that as a point guard, that is a no. You never stop dribbling. Don't pick up your dribble. Now, what he could have done, and what he should have done, is press more into the defense, and then that way you can come back out, you can run a 2-man game, you can do whatever, dribble, go around Jokic, do whatever. But when you pick up your dribble, and he was at half court, so he was at risk of turning the ball over. There wasn't room for Jokic to go run and get the ball, all kind of stuff. So they call a timeout, and then MPJ is the inbounder, and because again they're so high up on the court, there's no room for anybody to move, and the Kings are just playing up on pressuring. And MPJ ends up throwing the ball over Jokic's head and ends up being a 2-pointer on a transition, I think, for Sabonis. So, collection of things. You're up 19, you execute, you win the game. You don't execute, you don't win the game. It's really that simple. You do not execute, then you don't win the game. And that's what it came down to tonight. So, again, it's frustrating, but it's just not something that, I think people need to really worry about too much, given how well they played. They have the Miami Heat coming back to Denver as well. So remember, this is their 2 away games. They have the Miami Heat in Denver. They got the Boston Celtics in Denver. Then they're at Minnesota. And then they have the Clippers in Denver, Cleveland in Denver, LA in Denver, and then Phoenix again in Denver. A lot of home games. So you split a back-to-back on the road versus the Kings, who has a winning record still. No, not what you wanted to see in the late game execution, but it is what it is. Zeke Naji had 14 and 3 tonight on 7 and 9 shooting, +2, played a really good game. KCP had 7, 3 and 3, 3 of 7 and 1 of 3. Again, +6. Christian Brown had 9 points, 4 of 5 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3. Had a really great dunk to close out to put him up 2, I believe. Michael Porter Jr. did have 19 points and 7 rebounds and 1 assist, but he had 6 points, He had 3 points in the rest of the game after the first quarter. He was 6 of 12 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. And he did have 3 blocks. But he also had 4 turnovers. And again, for a player that doesn't dribble the ball a lot, it's just not one of those things you want to see. And then Vlaco had 9 points and 2 assists, 3 of 4 shooting, 3 of 4 from 3. He was a -2. Ish had 4, 1 and 5, 2 of 4 from the field. He was a +4. Denver Nuggets ended up shooting 58% from the field, 44% from 3, and 89% from the line, and he lost. And then that's because the Sacramento Kings, they shot 45% from 3 on 14 to 31, 53% from the field on 47 of 89, and they were only 76% from the line. The Nuggets also lost the rebounding battle, 16 turnovers. They had 31 assists. The Kings had 32. They tied the rebounding battle, lost the offensive rebounding battle. So you're seeing a pattern here, right? So you lose a 3-point battle, you lose the rebounding battle, and then you also then turn the ball over more. Those 3 things on the road will get you beat, especially when you're missing 4 rotation players. So again, not great, but again, get a great chance to rebound versus the Miami Heat on Friday. Should be a really good game. That's a game that definitely should win, especially coming off of a loss, because you're going to need that going into the Boston Celtics matchup. That's going to be a really big game. So I know it's frustrating, but like I said, back-to-back, second night, you won the first one, no impeachment, no Aaron Gordon, no Jamal, no Bruce, no Jeff. Again, no execution down the stretch either. So hopefully they pick it back up. They have another opportunity to make it right on Friday, but we'll see what happens, y'all. Hey, Swipa gang, y'all know what time it is. Subscribe to the channel. We are going to 10,000 subscribers, y'all. Hey, you know what time it is. I will be back, and I will see y'all soon. We out.